Good afternoon. From the KUOW newsroom, this is Seattle Now. I'm Paige Browning with a roundup of today's top stories. It's Wednesday, June 11th. As Seattle prepares for major protests this weekend against the Trump administration, Mayor Bruce Harrell had this message today for people planning to get out and rally.
We don't agree with the policies coming out of D.C. Be loud, be organized, but also understand that these need to be lawful protests.
Protesters are planning to march from Cal Anderson Park to Seattle Center on Saturday, beginning at noon. Meanwhile, the mayor was on hand this morning as Seattle started its official countdown to the FIFA Men's World Cup, which begins 1 year from today. Joshua McNichols has more.
3, 2, 1.
Sounders FC owner and former player Steve Zakuani was on hand to help unveil a giant digital clock at the Seattle Center. It's counting down the 525,600 minutes until the city hosts 6 World Cup matches next summer. Zakuani originally came from what is the Republic of Congo today. That's one of 12 countries targeted this week by President Trump's new travel ban. After unveiling the countdown clock, Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell criticized the message the travel ban sends.
Today, with this countdown, we are sending a completely different message, that we are welcoming and showing this country what welcoming looks like.
FIFA countdown clocks were also unveiled today in other World Cup host cities, including Philadelphia and Dallas. Joshua McNichols, KUOW News.
The search for homicide suspect Travis Decker is now well into its 10th day. Authorities now think they could be on his trail in an area near Blewett Pass after a hiking group and a helicopter spotted a lone skittish hiker. Chelan County Sheriff Mike Morrison gave a search update this afternoon.
Every single day Travis is out there. He's going to have to aim for perfection. He's not going to be able to make a mistake because all we need is one mistake and one day to go in our favor, and he's going to be in our custody. So I hope he's watching. I hope he knows that we haven't given up, but you got to be perfect every single day, Travis. We only have to be perfect one day.
The teams on the ground are led by the Chelan County Sheriff's Office, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, and the U.S. Forest Service. Decker is accused of killing his 3 daughters, who are survived by their mom in Wenatchee. To our education beat, coaches, students, and administrators with Seattle Public Schools are facing sanctions in connection with illicit football recruiting at Roosevelt High School. Ann Dornfeld reports.
After a months-long investigation, the Washington Interscholastic Athletic Association found that Roosevelt recruited students from other districts to the varsity football team. Some coaches said Roosevelt staff advised students to claim homelessness for eligibility. The WIAA fined 3 Roosevelt coaches for recruiting, as well as Principal Tammy Brewer and Athletic Director Danny Thompson, who had told the district they had investigated the allegations and cleared their staff. Head coach Sam Adams and assistant coach Saul Patu were barred from coaching for 1 year. Regulators also fined the Seattle School District's executive director of athletics and the district's athletic department, as well as the regional Metro League. Roosevelt will forfeit the past 2 years of football games that included ineligible players, and those students will be benched for a year. A spokesperson for Seattle Schools said the district takes the findings seriously and has strengthened its verification processes for student residency and school assignments. Ann Dornfeld, KUOW News.
In politics, the King County Council has voted to call for the resignation of the county assessor. John Arthur Wilson has been embroiled in scandal for weeks after news broke of a temporary restraining order his ex filed against him, the second in a year. Councilmember Teresa Mosqueda was one of 8 votes for his resignation.
After seeing a glimpse of what accountability for unacceptable behavior looks like during the Me Too movement, I refuse to have to continue to operate in a society that just expects women to deal.
The no confidence vote carries no consequences for Wilson. As county assessor, he's elected by voters and can only be removed by a recall election. Wilson has told KUOW that he won't resign and called the allegations exaggerated. His ex-fiancée alleges he stalked her and forced his way inside her home to kiss her. On the criminal justice beat today, Good news is on the way for public defenders in Washington's big cities. In a unanimous order, the Washington State Supreme Court has slashed public defender caseloads. The new standards cap the number of felony cases assigned to public defenders at 47 per year. That's down from the current limit of 150. But the group representing county governments says the new standards will not be met if the state doesn't increase its funding. The new caseload thresholds begin next year. Staying on the justice beat, King County's jails are not doing enough for people who need psychiatric medications. That's according to a new report by the county auditor. Eilish O'Neill has more.
People with severe psychiatric disorders usually get their meds within a couple of days, but people with milder or less visible conditions are put on a waiting list for an appointment. The wait can be up to 2 months, and most patients are released from jail before then, without ever getting their meds. County Council member Teresa Mosqueda says that needs to change.
Because we know that if we don't, there's other downstream consequences, that there's more recidivism, etc.
The auditor's report also said that psychiatric providers in the jails sometimes change people's drugs or doses without talking to them and without letting them know they're taking a new medication. That can lead to side effects or behavioral issues. King County's jail health providers plan to change their policies to communicate medication changes to patients. Eilish O'Neill, KUOW News.
A Washington task force investigating missing and murdered Indigenous people has brought its first charges since launching 2 years ago. The Attorney General's office says authorities arrested Tina Marie Alcorn in Arkansas in connection with a 2016 killing. George David was found dead in a Port Angeles apartment. He was a Nia Bay resident and member of the Clayoquot Indian Band of Vancouver Island, BC. The Cold Case Unit for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and People was created in 2023 to address historical inequities in the justice system. Environmental groups continue to fight 2 logging claims in the Elwha watershed on the Olympic Peninsula. These are mature forests that were sold off shortly before State Public Lands Commissioner Dave Upthegrove took office. Upthegrove put a 6-month moratorium on that kind of logging as his first official act. More from KNKX environment reporter Bellamy Palethorpe.
Upthegrove says he wishes he had a time machine so he could go back and reverse the sale of the Parched and Treewell parcels. But they're under contract now. Elizabeth Dunn, Director of Legal Advocacy for the Earth Law Center, is leading the fight to stop them in court on technical grounds. She says with all the effort and millions of dollars put into dam removal and ecosystem restoration, not to mention the climate crisis, cutting these mature stands doesn't make sense.
I mean, kind of our low-hanging fruit in protecting the watershed is just leaving these forests intact, right? You can come up with replacement dollars for these forests so they don't have to be sold off for timber.
DNR timber sales fund schools and other public services like libraries in rural counties. Upthegrove says he's focused on developing a policy to preserve mature stands statewide moving forward and protecting water quality where timber is cut. He should be unveiling that policy around the middle of July. I'm Bellamy Palethorpe reporting.
Finally today, a little upgrade is coming to a bus near you. King County Metro is planning to install or upgrade safety partitions in all of its 1,400 buses. Leaders with the drivers' union have been calling for better protections for operators after last December's stabbing death of driver Sean Yim. Right now, the agency is gathering feedback from operators on 4 different designs. Riders can expect to see the new partitions on buses later this year. Next time on Seattle Now, federal funding cuts at research universities like UW are causing turmoil in labs and causing some researchers to consider moving abroad.
What we're doing may seem far removed and elitist in our ivory tower. It is the most basic gift to humanity. We're trying to figure out how to make people better.
Hear that Thursday morning. And that's all for today from the KUOW Newsroom in Seattle. Our producer is Andy Hurst, and I'm Paige Browning. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. See you soon.